What's going on, everybody? Great Scott! The Mandalorian hits an all-time low. Amazon hides its woke content. Shazam going to streaming sooner than you would think. Harry Potter making his triumphant return. Joker Dave Coulier finishes principal photography. And could we still see a Lando series announced? And finally, are film critics even needed anymore? All that on this exciting episode of Bridging the Geekdoms. What's going on, everybody? Woo! How's it going? Welcome to Bridging the Geekdoms. I hope you all brought out your broadsword, as this episode is going to be quite interesting. I am your host, Robert Slavinsky, and with me today is, well, nobody yet again. You know, I think I need one person who will be like able to be on every show, or a producer. That'd be great. I'd like to have a producer where I don't have to do all the backstage stuff. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I think it'd be nice. All right, so how's it going? We got a show for you today. Before we get into all that, thank you so much for stopping by. If this is your first time checking out the show, listening to the podcast, what have you, the setup is pretty simple. The first 30 minutes or so of the show is dedicated to some hot topics. It could be reviews, it could be newsworthy items, it could be anything that's going on in the pop culture world. After that, the last 25-30 minutes, give or take, is dedicated to a main topic. The main topic this week is about film critics and if they're even needed anymore. So that's definitely going to be interesting, because there's been a lot of discussion as of the past few days, and actually the past few weeks. When you take a look at movies like Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Super Mario Brothers, which just came out yesterday, when it comes to critic ratings, and this is going to be a little bit different discussion than what we had about Rotten Tomatoes a few weeks back, but when it comes to the critics, are they really even needed anymore? So that's what we're going to talk about. Should be fun, right? Should be fun. I apologize. You might be hearing a little noise in the background. That is currently my 3D printer right over here printing something. It's going to be done in like 10 minutes, so that should go away soon enough, I hope. Be nice if it would just stop. All right, let's get into it. So first thing I'm going to talk about is The Mandalorian Chapter 22, which is quite possibly the most divisive of all of the Mandalorian episodes to this point. And it starts off in a really peculiar way of these star-crossed lovers of dueling and fighting species. You got the calamari, and I don't know who the other person is, or what the species they are. But it's really interesting, because this was really showcasing that the Mandalorians that are out there, the ones that were part of Bo-Katan's group, they're just out there as weapons for hire still, and they're doing things, and they went and captured the one on the right, the one on the left, the calamari, to take back to their home, which I thought was interesting. But that was really all that was, and it was kind of like, all right, this is one way to start it. After you end last episode, where it's like, all right, Bo-Katan, go find the Mandalorians and bring them all together. You're like, okay, cool. And then it starts off this way. But we do see Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, as well as Grogu and R5 unit in the back. They're heading to the planet in which they believe the other Mandalorians are stationed, and they do find that they're there, but they get pulled in to the main city by those who are ruling it. So then they go in, and then it's kind of like, okay, well, we didn't want to do this. We wanted to go see the Mandalorians. We don't have time for all this bull crap, what have you. So they end up getting pulled in, and they meet these two, Lizzo and Jack Black, the couple that we've never known we wanted. Blizzo, as I like to call them. this is where everything starts to get a little controversial because, look, I get it. Star Wars is, people have this idea of Star Wars, and they're not used to this idea of cameos popping up in Star Wars. This is something that really started heavily in the Disney era when you take a look at The Force Awakens. But they were doing it so subtly through the early years of the Disney Star Wars. Now they're just throwing it in your face. They don't care. Like, that's 100% Jack Black. Like, when I look at that character, I see no one but Jack Black. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I had that's Lizzo, but I had no idea it was Lizzo because I don't follow Lizzo in any way, shape, or form. But the fact is she's not a good actress. And you add not being able to act alongside, well, that's Jack Black. It kind of pulls you out of the episode a little bit, which was a little disappointing. But they send Din and Bo on a mission to figure out why former battle droids that they have on hand who are there living their lives, I guess, and assisting the people of this world. And they have to go on a mission to figure out why they are malfunctioning and essentially killing people and doing things like that, which is kind of ridiculous. So they end up getting all the way. They find some Ugnaughts who are making the droids, or fixing the droids, making them where they're not battle ready anymore or something. I don't know. But then it all leads them to Christopher Lloyd, Great Scott, Doc Brown in a Star Wars show. I gotta say, this cameo worked. The one reason why is Christopher Lloyd in this stage of his career, he doesn't look like Doc Brown. Yeah, he has the same voice, but his look, the way he acts, you can differentiate him as an actor and playing a different role as opposed to him being Doc Brown. Whereas Jack Black, to me, is always Jack Black. I can't think of a time I've watched a movie where Jack Black is in it where I didn't think that's Jack Black. Of course, maybe his earlier stuff, like going back to High Fidelity or something, when he wasn't a household name. But anymore, Jack Black is Jack Black. Christopher Lloyd, on the other hand, worked. And here's some action against the battle droid. They had went up and found a super battle droid, had to take it out. And then it leads to them being able to go find the other Mandalorians there, to which Din Djarin hands the Darksaber over to Bo-Katan in a very unceremonious way. Now, again, Bo-Katan actually had to end up facing the man standing there and fighting him, the new commander of that group. And she kicks his ass, essentially. But the problem that I have with it is they all just kind of agree that Din Djarin handing the Darksaber over to Bo is fine. Now, he goes and explains all the ridiculousness that happened in episode 2 of this season, where he goes to Mandalore and the mechanical spider beats him and takes the Darksaber from him. And then Bo-Katan is the one who beats the mechanical spider with the Darksaber, and that it's rightfully hers. It's disappointing because there was buildup in last season, the final episode of season 2, like, okay, there's going to have to be some kind of conflict between these two at some point if she wants the Darksaber, if she wants to rule Mandalore again. And they just kind of missed an opportunity there. And it's really disappointing because you have Bo-Katan, who is very much a warrior. She is a warrior through and through. And then you have Din Djarin, who is Din Djarin. He's a guy just trying to make his way through the universe and now has a son. And it would have been interesting for her to go and get as many Mandalorians as she could, but they still don't view her as the leader of Mandalore. And it comes down to she needs the Darksaber, and there's conflict, and there's a reason that the two of them have to go head to head for some reason. That would have been cool. And in this episode, if you do not believe what I said months and a year or so ago, season 2 was supposed to be the end of The Mandalorian. There was never a plan to go past season 2. The idea was to get through Din Djarin's story and then go on with another, whether it's Boba Fett or Bo-Katan. And you can see that very much in this season, that the story has shifted away from Din Djarin into Bo-Katan, because she is now the main protagonist of this season. And that was the plan originally. And those who are upset that it's not Din Djarin and Grogu who are the main focal point, well, their story technically should have been done and over with at the end of season 2. It was just that the excitement and the joy that people got from Grogu and from Din Djarin, that they ended up continuing their story. I think they could have handled it better, but that's what ended up happening. And I think it kind of suffered from it. But this episode wasn't terrible. It was definitely the worst of the series. But even the worst of this series is not the worst Star Wars content that we've ever gotten. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think of this episode. Do you think this is it? Do you think like you're not going to watch The Mandalorian anymore? I know a lot of people were just really, really upset about this here. Like, so upset. And like I said, it pulled me out, but they were only in the episode 4 or 5 minutes, maybe something like that. It's not like they were in the episode. It was a 40-minute episode, and it wasn't like they were in there for 30, 35 minutes. It was 5 minutes or so. Let me know your thoughts on all that. And yeah, definitely. So we're going to move on. This is another topic, another issue that's popped up over the past couple days. And we know that right now, it seems like a lot of companies are coming out and being very open and like, hey, we're going to be woke. Essentially, we're going to be woke now. We're going to go and support trans kids. We're going to push these agendas and these ideals on our children. And that's kind of what's going on. Or is it? Well, as we see here, Amazon Studios, this is coming from Bounding Into Comics. Great website. I recommend it to a lot of people here. Everybody, go check out this website. But this report is claiming that Amazon Studios scrapped ranking shows based on audience scores because it revealed audiences found queer stories off-putting. So, if you don't know what that means, if you jump onto Netflix, if you jump onto HBO Max, Disney Plus, you go to any of these streaming sites, and what they'll do is they'll have a trending section, a section of the top rated shows, the most watched shows or movies on that streaming service at that point in time. And you can see, oh, okay, a lot of people are watching Stranger Things, or a lot of people are watching Batman vs. Superman. Like, you can go and find these trending films and projects and such. Amazon scrapped the ranking shows based on audience scores. Theirs would have been handled where after you watch a movie, you can rank a movie, score, I think like 5-star up to 5 stars or something like that. Because it revealed that the movies that had queer stories, LGBTQ stuff, they found that the audiences look at this as off-putting. So a new report claims that Amazon Studios scrapped an audience ranking system after data revealed audiences were put off by queer stories and themes. This new report comes from The Hollywood Reporter's Kim Masters, who details the Amazon's reliance on testing and data led to Clash late summer, specifically following a marketing meeting regarding the company's A League of Their Own series. Now, The League of Their Own is, there was a movie made in the 90s, which I really enjoyed when I was younger. It was about, I believe, during World War II, when all the men were off fighting, the women took over baseball, and they were the ones playing America's pastime. Well, in the new series that recently came out, obviously, because of the time period that we live in, they decided to input and push a lot of LGBTQ messages. So obviously, some issues came up about that. So the report appears to lend credence to a previous rumor from Hollywood Insider, WDW Pro at the Park Place, that claimed multiple Hollywood focus groups chose a dummy police show versus a woke style police show. They detailed that the dummy police show was based on a hacked together episode of Starsky and Hutch that featured two young detectives, two white guys, one Ivy League and the other a good old boy, are partnered in Vegas where they cultivate informants, recurring girlfriends. Every episode includes a fist fight with chairs and bottles flying every second. Episode has car chases, alleys with blowing newspapers, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, unnecessarily overpowered firearms, muscle cars on the strip, Vegas locations used to hilt, from grungy and rundown to full-on glam. In contrast, the woke style show was allegedly a legitimate show that was being pitched to a number of streaming services, including Netflix, that followed a person of color police woman in the South, where she is shocked by the racism, sexism, and abuse of power of her new colleagues, as well as the poor relations with the communities they serve. Not only did the show feature themes about racism and sexism, but it muddied the moral waters as the policewoman doesn't know who are the good guys and who are the bad guys anymore, and has to watch her back on and off duty while she tries to initiate change both in her department and in her community. What have we been saying? What have I been saying for months, weeks, years? Once you go woke, you go broke. Amazon has discovered this to be the case. Now, is this going to change? Are they going to back off on pushing these films, these TV shows, these ideas and such? Are they going to pull back and stop investing money in those stories? No, because as of right now, there would be so much backlash on it. It's not going to happen. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this information getting out there. Is there going to be backlash there? Are they going to give in and start highlighting these queer-based stories on their service? But we're starting to see more and more and more reports come out about all of this type of stuff. How people don't want to see this. The fake police show that they talked about in this report. You want to know why that was bigger than the police show with a person of color police woman dealing with racism and sexism? Because it's entertainment. Because they don't want people, the audience doesn't want to be lectured to when they want to get away from the real world. They want to sit down in front of their TV and they want to be taken to another world, being entertained. They want to see scary moments. They want to see crazy action scenes, things that are unbelievable. They want to have to suspend their disbelief to enjoy themselves. But when you bring in things like this, when you bring in these stories that hit close to home, that you're pushing an agenda, that you're pushing these ideals of LGBTQ or racism or all of these ideas that are just ridiculous in some form or fashion, people don't respond to them because they don't want to. They don't want to. I don't know, guys. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I just think, I thought this was really interesting. I didn't expect for Amazon to be the first ones to make this move on hiding woke content, essentially. Not hiding it. I mean, you can find it on there. But again, essentially, their woke content, while it is there, they're not promoting it like they promote other content or like other services do. I think that's pretty interesting. I do. All right, moving on. We're just going to chuck along here. All right. So this one's interesting because Shazam! Fury of the Gods came out a few weeks ago. And believe it or not, it did not do very well at the box office. And this is a big reason why I came up with the main topic for today, because honestly, when you think about it, this big debate started with this film recently. But I want to talk about how big of a flop it actually was. According to Box Office Mojo, as of today, which is April 6th, domestically it has made $54 million. Internationally, it's made $66 million for a worldwide total of just over $120 million. Now, mind you, the rumor has it that this film cost anywhere between $100 and $150 million to make. You add on roughly another $100 million in marketing, roughly, you're looking at between $200 and $300 million that they had to make. Minimum. Derpy Entertainment, notice me. Hello, Derpy Entertainment. But yeah, they had to make that much minimum to even consider breaking even. Maybe add another 50 to 100 million on there after all is said and done with ticket sales to theaters and what have you. So what happened? Well, the marketing sucked. For one, marketing was pretty terrible for this. It's just really disappointing that DC has fallen this far. I am excited about what James Gunn's going to be doing. I'm looking forward to it. But the fact that DC has fallen this far, that this is now going to be, quite possibly, their biggest box office failure of all time. Derpy says, so I'll check it out on streaming. Well, that's a cool idea, because while this is the biggest box office failure of all time for DC, apparently, you're going to be able to watch it on streaming a lot sooner than you would think. Tomorrow, it goes on digital. Doesn't mean you're going to see it on HBO Max, but you'll be able to rent it and buy it on digital, Amazon and all those places. And it's been a month, right? I believe I read that it's going to be the second week of May, that it's going to be hitting streaming. Pretty interesting. They pretty much just gave up on this movie. They really did. I haven't seen any marketing for it since it came out or anything like that. So it's pretty interesting. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Are you going to check it out when it hits streaming? Are you going to buy it digitally or rent it digitally to check it out? I mean, if you think about it, renting it's probably going to be like $6, $7 if you rent it. Buying it's $20, and if you have a family of 4, $20, and you don't have to pay for theater concessions, $20. Whereas if you went to the theater seat, you're probably paying $60 to $80 to $100. So I don't know. I think I might grab it on digital if it's like $20, maybe. I have all the other DC films, so I need to collect them all, right? It's like Pokemon cards or something. I don't know. Now, the discussion of Warner Brothers doesn't end there. They made... before we move there, Derpy says, I wanted Mr. Mind. That's what ticked me off about the sequel, and they made new villains. I honestly didn't want Mr. Mind. See, I like when they allude to things in post-credit scenes, when they allude to things in different areas of the movie, but they don't follow up with it immediately. I wholeheartedly believe both Black Adam and Shazam 2 would have been financial successes had Black Adam shown up in Shazam 2 first. Then had a Black Adam movie. Both films would have done drastically better from that. But what do I know? But back to this. Warner Brothers. Harry Potter TV series for HBO Max inching closer to reality with, now this is controversial, J.K. Rowling in talks to produce. This is coming from Deadline. The long-rumored Harry Potter TV series for HBO Max is on track to clear the biggest hurdle in its path to the screen. A deal with books author J.K. Rowling, who has creative control over any exploitation of her work. WB is in talks with her to join the project as a producer, Deadline has confirmed. Once she comes on board, the project, which is in the nascent stages, is expected to look for a writer. As first reported by Bloomberg, the general idea is for each season of the potential TV series to focus on one book in Harry Potter book series, which consists of 7 novels. It would be produced by Warner Brothers TV, HBO Max, and then parent company Warner Media started exploring potential Harry Potter TV series a couple years ago, blah, 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 all that stuff. Okay. I love this idea. Now, I am a little shocked. I mean, the first Harry Potter came out in 2000, I think. 99, maybe? Something like that. Why is this being made again? WBD, because money. Ha ha ha. That's my best Mr. Crab impression. No, I mean, here's the thing. I get it from a financial standpoint on why to make Harry Potter again. I am a little upset because while the last Fantastic Beasts movie wasn't great, I want that story finished. I want them to finish off that story. But it looks like they're probably not going to go that route because of how poorly the last one was received and how poorly it did financially. But that's not because people don't want to see that story or continue that story. It's because it just wasn't a good movie. Make a good movie and you're going to see the financial upswing of it. But the problem, besides that, is, I mean, it's only been 20 years since and honestly, not even 20 years. The last Harry Potter movie, what was that, 2009, 2010 that it came out? Something like that. So it's only been like 10 years since that series ended. But besides that, I do like the idea. I do like the idea of them doing a television series and focusing on one book at a time per series or per season, because there's a lot that they left out of the book or left out of the movies from the books in the movies. This would give them the opportunity to add so much of that and kind of explore a lot more of like the different areas in which, for instance, Neville was looked at as, could he have been the chosen one? Things like that, just different aspects of the story that could have been interesting to have seen on screen in some form or fashion. Derpy Entertainment says 2011, 12 years ago is when the last one came out. Thank you very much, sir. They better not go the trend route, though. Are you talking about all the woke bullshit? Yeah, they better not go that route. Not at all. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it could be really cool. I think it's an interesting aspect and idea. So I do hope they go that route. I do. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your ideas if you're okay. Here's another thing. I forgot to bring this up. People are pissed off about the J.K. Rowling thing. She's pissed. They're pissed off because she doesn't believe that transgenderism is real or whatever. Well, no shit, it's not. So more power to her. But they're mad that she could possibly be to a degree, though, just not the main 3. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't want them. I want them to stay true to the books. I know that Dumbledore was part of the LGBT community. He's a gay man, apparently. They were starting to push that idea in the Fantastic Beasts films a good bit. But I don't mind some of that. But they don't need to push the wokeness. That's all I'm saying. Stay true to the books. Don't add stuff just because. Stay true to the books. That's all I say. But people are mad about J.K. Rowling possibly being attached still. Well, it's her property. And here's my thing. If you're upset about J.K. Rowling, if you're upset about her and her beliefs, then get rid of your books. Get rid of your DVDs. Just don't watch it. Don't support it. And if you don't want to get rid of that stuff, you still have that stuff. So just let it go. I'm so over, it is not on everybody in this world to make you happy. It is on you to make you happy. If you don't agree with somebody's stance or beliefs on something, that's not their fault that you feel bad about it. Take ownership of yourself. Ah, crap, my favorite author doesn't believe in trans people. Ah, crap. Well, if you feel that badly about it, don't support her anymore. Simple as that. Leave your thoughts, comments, all that jazz below. Next thing I want to talk about, Joker Dave Coulier has finished principal photography, has wrapped filming. The film is due to release on October 4th of 2024. So we're more than a year and a half away from this thing, which is a little shocking to me. This isn't a movie that has extensive post-production. So the fact that they finished filming, maybe have some reshoots after they're done, editing, fiddling around a little bit to clean it up and bring it together a little bit better. But overall, this movie could come out 6 months from now if they really wanted to. And to me, I think it's a smart idea. Derpy Entertainment, yeah, I'm not a fan of Lady Gaga as Harley. Honestly, I don't hate it. I'm a fan of Lady Gaga. I think she's a damn good actress. Underrated actress. A Star is Born, she was fantastic in. What else did I see? She was in American Horror Story. She was good in. She's a good actress. And honestly, her as Harley Quinn kind of makes sense. I didn't like the first Joker movie. I didn't. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out because I don't know. And yeah, I get it. Derpy's saying I don't like the design. And I get that. But you get that with every reinterpretation of these comic book films, of these comic book genres, and these characters are going to have a different iteration, just like you have in the comic books. Sometimes they stay a little truer to the conventional look that you've seen originally, but there is a sense of evolution and different takes on the characters. And that's why I was so open to the idea of going and seeing the Joker movie when it first came out. But after sitting there realizing that they did not take the core of what Joker is. They made a story and put the surroundings of Joker from the comics into that movie. And that was the biggest reason why I didn't like it. I'm hoping that this one does a little bit better in that regard, but we'll see. I mean, I'm interested to see how Lady Gaga handles this role as Harley Quinn. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious she's playing Harley Quinn, but I don't think the studio or anybody attached to the movie has actually said she's playing Harley Quinn. So we could all just be saying, oh, we don't like her as Harley Quinn, and they can make up some stupid, she is Clowny Miss Clownsmith, and then they can get away with doing whatever they wanted with her. I don't know. Derpy says, well, he better be abusing her or something similar to how she was introduced in the animated series. I'm sure there'll be some kind of, entreated. I'm sure there'll be some kind of reference or some sort of manipulation or some kind of mental abuse. I don't think it's going to be physically, at least not in a being beaten type of thing, but I could see there definitely being because of the type of character Arthur Fleck was in the first one. I know that he was a very angry and strange human being, but when it came to being physical, that wasn't necessarily his character, which is why he was utilizing a gun. He wasn't beating people up. So maybe he does do that to her. I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely see. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, comments on Joker Dave Coulier, or what the real name is, Foulier de French words. That's what it is, Joker French words, because I can't speak French and I don't even want to try to speak French. Donald Glover recently talked about how he and Lucasfilm could be still doing the Lando Calrissian show that was announced and teased, 5 years ago at this point, 4 years ago at this point. Lando is a charm to incarnate, Glover said. He's kind of a maverick, which I don't think there's a lot of anymore. It's hard to be a smooth talker nowadays. Where's the line? That's also where the danger is. How close can you get without tripping over it? He continued, I would love to play Lando again. It's a fun time being him. It just has to be the right way to do it. Time is precious. The past couple of years, the pandemic shit, it really had people experience time. People realize their time is valuable. You only get so much. I'm not interested in doing anything that's going to be a waste of my time or just a paycheck. I'd much rather spend time with people that I enjoy. It just has to be the right thing. And I think it could be. Lando is definitely somebody I like to hang out with. So, the only discussion that I'm aware of about a sequel for Solo is coming from the fans at this point. What was that about? Oh, that was Howard, who directed Solo. Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. There is definitely a possibility that the Lando series, and he was the best part of Solo. I did not hate Solo. I thought Solo was great. I get that it was a financial disappointment, but I actually enjoyed that movie. But yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about on that, really. Not much to say on that. Let me know your thoughts if you want to see that happen or not. Derpy says, did you hear this? Apparently, we're getting a School of Rock reunion for the 20th anniversary. I mean, the movie was all right. I don't know. I mean, it came out 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago. I mean, I was in high school then. I don't know. I don't remember being overly impressed with that film. I think it's just Jack Black being Jack Black. So maybe we get it. If we get it, cool. I'm not overly optimistic about it or anything. All right. So let's move on to our main topic for the last 20 minutes or so here. So critics suck. They really do. Super Mario Brothers came out just yesterday. But the critic scores and the critics have been talking about it for the last week or so. And this is what we see. Maybe. There we go. I know, Rotten Tomatoes. What are you doing going on Rotten Tomatoes? Currently, Super Mario Brothers movie is at 54% critic rating. They're currently 54%, yet the audience is 96%. Here's the thing. When it comes to critics, you do, and I've often said this, you have to find the critic, those that you agree with, those that have a similar voice and an opinion that you have on film. But film is subjective. Film is something that everybody goes in and sees differently. The problem is we have film critics today who don't understand that some films are not made for them, are not made for everybody. The one thing that I think is very important to point out here is the fact that it's Super Mario Brothers movie, kids and family comedy movie. When you read some of these reviews that come from here, like from Chris Sowen, Bounding into Comics, which I thought it was a little weird. Super Mario Brothers movie is like fruit striped gum. It's super colorful and eye-catching, but it seems to instantly lose its flavor and charm. The film is surprisingly dull when it isn't slapping you in the face with a rainbow-colored nostalgia. Again, I love the Bounding into Comics website. But Chris here, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. It's a Super Mario movie made for kids. You're not going in there to see a movie like The Shawshank Redemption, Citizen Kane, American History X. No, you're going in there to see Super Mario smash Koopas, to defeat Bowser, to defeat a giant turtle lizard dragon thing with talking mushrooms. The Super Mario Brothers movie seems genuinely concerned with putting on an authentic experience for children and their parents alike. No shit! The first-rate production values almost redeem this bland, soulless blockbuster. The film is plastered with references, Easter eggs, and just about everything you can imagine from the game. Awesome. That's what you want to see. So much so that the story is bare bones, as Mario simply jumps from one colorful screen to the next without a care in the world. Almost like a video game. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But it doesn't just end there. Like I said earlier, when we take a look at Shazam, Fury of the Gods, it's a very similar story. A 50% critic score with an 86% fan score. And if you take a look at some of these, an uneasy mixture of YA superhero flick, warm-hearted family movie, and effects-laden action picture. It proves once again that more does not translate to better. It's a action adventure comedy fantasy. Literally, his review is, hey, this is a mixture of action adventure comedy fantasy, but it proves that it doesn't translate well. Why doesn't it translate well? Because it's not for you. And one of the worst comic adaptations to hit theaters in a good long while. Stumbles down the narrow line between kid-friendly and just plain juvenile. It's a kid's movie. It's a family movie. Shazam! Fury of the Gods is better than Black Adam, but I find myself forgetting it soon after it ends. Why, though? Why? Let's take a look at this. Ant-Man and the Wasp, 47% critics, 83% audience score. And as you see, I'm kind of going down, and the audience score is getting lower and lower, but so is the critics score. Look, I saw Quantumania. Was it a great movie? No. Was it enjoyable? It sure was. It was fine. It had its moments of just ridiculousness and some things that they created, some of the plot devices that they made up on the fly were annoying, but it was still a good time. Why? Because it's an action adventure fantasy comedy. And a lot of these critics miss that point. They don't understand that when you're going into criticize a movie, you need to watch it as an audience member. I think a lot of these critics, they simply, and this is one of the reasons why I don't do a lot of reviews on my channel, because I don't want to be pulled into faking a reaction. I don't want to be tempted to act like a jackass and say things that aren't true just to get views. But that's what I think a lot of these critics do anymore, because they want to get clicks. They want people to click that full review and read that full review. They want people to notice them. And that's why I think a lot of them, when they go in there and they're going like, let's go watch Shazam, Fury of the Gods. You can't go in there expecting it to be Man of Steel or Zack Snyder's Justice League or The Dark Knight or hell, you can't expect it to be Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. But you have to go in there willing to suspend your disbelief, willing to accept that this is going to be wacky, ridiculous fun. When you go to watch Super Mario Brothers, you have to realize that you're going in there not to watch Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones or Uncharted. No, or The Last of Us. Like, you're going in there to watch a plumber, which, first off, is ridiculous to begin with, going to a magical kingdom, fighting off turtles and Goombas to save a princess. But you act like it's a big shock to you when you go, and that's exactly what it is. And you're like, well, that's not good. No, it's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's exactly how it's supposed to be. So why are you shocked? Why are you surprised at that concept? Why do you not understand that when you go to watch a movie, you have to watch it for that movie? This has kind of been a debate in a battle I've had with some people over the last few weeks, few months. You should never go into these movies expecting any more than what that movie is going to bring. Absolutely, there are bad movies that come out. Absolutely. But when you start to see, when you see things as divided as this, where am I at here? I don't even know where I'm at. When you see the scores 47 and 83, nearly a 40% difference between critics and audience, there's a disconnect. These critics, they don't know what the audience wants. And that's kind of key. That's kind of important to remember. Because critics in the past were to be respected, and you were supposed to listen to them, and they were supposed to give you an opinion on a movie, and you could say, okay, they hit the nail on the head. You see that movie, you should essentially, more times than not, understand where they're coming from. You may not agree with it, but you should understand where they're coming from. I just went through 3 recent films where the critics didn't even understand what they were writing, didn't understand what they were watching. How can you trust a critic? How can you say you understand where they're coming from if they don't even understand what they are doing? We've said it before, Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't want to make this about Rotten Tomatoes because it's not about Rotten Tomatoes. But it has been a excuse me. It has been a bad website for film goers, for fans of movies. Because you have these type of instances where people will go and they'll look at this score and not even look at the reviews and see how dumb some of them are and simply say, well, I don't want to go see that then. Take a look at Shazam, Fury of the Gods. It's not a bad movie. The audience enjoys it because they went in knowing what it is. They went in knowing exactly what it is. The critics, the reviewers, what were they expecting? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. It's maddening to me. Because there's no reason for them to act that way. Not even a little bit. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think critics are even needed anymore? Should we even pay attention to what critics are saying at all anymore? Personally, I don't think we should. I think anymore, if you see a trailer and it looks interesting, go see the movie. I think critics, they don't understand what they're doing anymore. I'd say 15 years ago they did. But with the growth of the internet, with the growth of websites like Rotten Tomato, with shock and awe, shock jocks, and this idea that you need to be edgy to be noticed, I think that's what really has hurt movie critics and the way they handle things when it comes to film. Again, let me know your thoughts, comments below. Make sure you check out our merch store. T-shirts, bottles, stickers. Support us. Link is in the description. You can also hit that little QR code there. You can find the store. You can find our emails, links to everything else as well. Because why not, right? A little shorter, bit shorter of a show. It's all right. Well, with all that said, guys, my music stopped playing. No, still there? Yeah, it's still there. With all that said, I'll talk to all of you Later.